विजय को फिर से कॉल
कोच ने स्टार्ट कर दिया?
कर दिया
एक बार चेक कर लेना। मैं बैठ गया। कैमरा तो ऑन कर दिया ना मैंने?
कैमरा ऑन कर दिया।
ठीक है। तो हेलो हेलो।
ये गुड आफ्टरनून सर, गर्ग साहब सर, AK गर्ग साहब, गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
गुड आफ्टरनून, अभांशु दिस साइड। मैंने अभी मीटिंग स्टार्ट की है ना। हेलो हेलो
सर गुड आफ्टरनून।
गुड आफ्टरनून।
सर हमारी साउंड मिल रही है क्या सर? प्लीज रिप्लाई।
आपकी वीडियो एंड ऑडियो दोनों मिल रही है।
सोनी पे कर रखा था मैंने सेटिंग। सोनी कौन सा?
हेलो
सर जय हिंद सर, आइडियो मिल रहा है सर?
हाँ जय हिंद। मिल रहा है, सब मिल रहा है। Are you getting my voice?
बोलना महाराज। माइक टेस्टिंग हो गया?
हाँ जय हिंद सर, ये हमारा आइडियो मिल रहा है क्या सर? सर जय हिंद, हमारा आइडियो मिल रहा है सर?
कर ना ना सर एक मिनट रुकिए, यहाँ सभी कर रहे हैं सेट ना, उसके बाद पूछिए, यहाँ से जब पूरा हो जाता है तो
न्यूज डाल दो, कोई न्यूज आइटम चला दो।
टीवी में क्या हो रहा है, एक मिनट यहाँ हो गया ना इसका, ठीक है।
देखिए वहाँ से। हाँ। इस बार भी सर ऑर्डर आ गया क्या ट्रांसफर वाला?
सर ये ऑडियो मिल रहा है हमारा आपको एसएसबी से? सर आपको आवाज मिल रही है हमारी, काइंडली बताएंगे।
I wonder, are you, we are doing a mic test, are you getting our voice?
हेलो हेलो माइक चेक।
नहीं आ रहा, आपका वॉइस नहीं आ रहा, हमारा वॉइस आ रहा है ना?
उनको बोल दो
वो बहुत आर विजिबल है, ठीक है, पर आपका वॉइस नहीं आ रहा है। आपने शायद म्यूट, एक बार आपने म्यूट करके रखा है, एक बार ओके। वो बोल रहा कि हमारा तो आ रहा है।
Hello, Ravi. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I want to be, I can hear you. Are we clear?
Ravi, are you getting my voice?
Yes, Avanti, I'm getting your voice. Am I audible? Avanshu, am I audible?
Hello, check.
Your voice is.
I'm able to hear your voice, Avanti. Are you able to hear mine?
I can see your video and hear.
Am I audible? Yes.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. Sir,
ओके।
मतलब ये
ये मेकर्स मेला के लिए इंटर्नशिप ऑफर कर रहे हैं स्टूडेंट्स की, को यूनिवर्सिटी वाले। डिजिटल मार्केटिंग वाले लेते हैं।
Can you please requesting all the participants to keep their videos, their audios off?
म्यूट है।
Mute all your audios, please.
From Ajay's MacBook Pro.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we welcome you to this webinar organized for Drishti Challenge, Development of Research Indigenous Solutions, Hackathon for Technology Innovations. So we are inviting applications for this challenge, and on a brief account. So this challenge is launched with MITI and SSB, and MSH is hosting this challenge, and the proposed grant challenge identifies two problem statements given by SSB, which is relating to detection of unauthorized or suspected vehicles and persons who are moving across the border through various checkposts and vulnerable points, along with seamless integration of data. And the second is UAV and drone-based surveillance, along with geospatial mapping of vulnerable areas across the border. So we are inviting applications from Indian tech startups, MSMEs, companies, LLPs registered in India, and the entities who are having 51% or more shareholding with Indian citizens and persons of Indian origin or are domiciled in India. So now I request Mr. Jeet Vijay, CEO MSH, to throw some light on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanshu, for the introduction, and welcome to all the participants here today. And first and foremost, I want to wish everyone a healthy new year. Hope the year is off to a good start, and all our best wishes are with everyone. Second, I want to thank SSB for giving us this opportunity to engage in this nation-building effort with our startups. As our Honorable Prime Minister has envisioned that on this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, as we celebrate 75 years of India's independence, we have to look forward to 2047, the 100 years, where India will be. Now, with that big vision in mind, our Honorable Prime Minister has called out the startups in particular in this nation building effort. As you may have heard on a speech during interaction with the startup community this past weekend, that January 16th will be declared as a National Startup Day, the day when Startup India Mission was launched. And we have seen within 5 years of Startup India missions being launched, India has become the third largest ecosystem for startups. 82 unicorns were created in the so far, and the rate of unicorns that are being created by Indians in India is increasing. So that speaks to the capability of our Indian startups, and given the opportunity, they can really excel and really commit to building this country. And SSB and organizations like SSB are playing a critical role by making sure that they can bring all these high impact challenges and opportunities whereby our startups can participate. And you all can understand how significant of a milestone it is that for a border agency or for a security agency of the government of India to engage with startups and appreciate the work that they are doing. So, hats off to them for their willingness to work with their startups. And in the closing remarks, I'll only say that Ministry of Electronics and IT has been working diligently with other departments of the government of India at center as well as the state level to bring support and resources to our startups from all over the place. We recently did a similar kind of challenge with BSF as well. And we are doing it with multiple agencies. So you should all be connected to MSH, Mighty Startup Hub, part of the ministry, whereby we are working very hard to bring all these resources and opportunities for our startups. We have 51 incubators across India that we are supporting, 26 different center of excellences in deep tech areas of 5G, drone, industrial IoT, AR, VR, game, and animation. And we have multiple schemes for our startups, all the way from idea level in the form of EIR grants to validate the ideas. We have prototype funding schemes, and we have schemes which are focused on acceleration as well as commercialization, whereby we give up to 40 lakh of funding to startups for commercializing their product. So with all these resources, all these partners, all these schemes, we are doing our utmost best to support you guys. So please get connected with us and let us know what more can we do for you, because ultimately when you reach out to us and let us know where your needs are and what support you need, we'll be able to work with other departments and ministries in the government of India and try to bring all those opportunities for you. So with this, I would like to thank you guys for being here today, and I would request SSB team to take over and talk a little bit more about the opportunity that we're discussing here today. Thank you.
On behalf of SSB and Meti Startup Hub, I welcome you all to this session. This session is being primarily held to clarify any doubts or other issues that occur during the conduct of Drishti, that is the name given to this hackathon, which SSB Sashastra Seema Bal is conducting in collaboration with Meti Startup Hub.
Excuse me, you're not very audible. The voice has reduced a little bit.
It's okay now?
It's okay now?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah. Once again, thank you, Deep. On behalf of SSB and Meti Startup Hub, I welcome you all to the session being primarily organized to clarify any doubts or any other issues that may crop up during the conduct of Drishti, the name given to this hackathon, which Sashastra Seema Bal is doing in collaboration with Meti Startup Hub. The problem statement, I think, is laid out in front of you. There are two problem statements, and the problem statements have been framed in such a manner, keeping in view the It's okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible. I would request all the participants to mute their mics so we can hear SSB team, please.
It's okay now? Continue?
Yes, please.
Yes, I was just telling about the problem statements. There are two problem statements, and I think most of you must have gone through it by now. And both these problem statements have been keeping in mind the unique nature of the borders where we are operating. SSB or Sashastra Seema Bal is an organization, is a force, is a border guarding force under the Ministry of Home Affairs. We are primarily responsible for the Indo-Nepal and the Indo-Bhutan borders, apart from our deployment in Jammu and Kashmir for law and order duties, and the ANO, that is the anti-Naxal operations in the left-wing extremist areas. This is not happening. It's okay. Okay, so the problem statements are there. I was talking about the borders. These borders basically are open borders and document-free borders, both Nepal and Bhutan. For some of you may be aware of that. Crossing over to Nepal or Bhutan or coming over for citizens of India, Bhutan, and of course and Nepal, you don't need any document as such per se to cross over. So this free movement between these countries means there's a lot of traffic on a daily basis. There is a lot of traffic, huge traffic on a daily basis. Now, of course, it has come down because of the COVID situation, but otherwise, there is a lot of traffic. And our deployment along these borders is such that it becomes very difficult to identify suspects, vehicles, suspected vehicles which are used in anti-national or criminal activity. This border is vulnerable insofar as smuggling, human trafficking, anti-national activity is concerned. It may be perceived as a soft border vis-a-vis, let's say, the hot borders such as Pakistan, or maybe a fenced border like Bangladesh, or the problematic border, the Sino-Indian border. But these borders are no less vulnerable in terms of anti-national activity. So the problem statements which have been defined here are to come up with solutions, basically designed to come up with solutions to cater to these problems. Now I just asked my commandant ops to just talk about the deployment pattern on both these borders, the Indo-Nepal border and the Indo-Bhutan border, so that you get a fair idea of what's actually going on.
Thank you very much. I will try to explain the nature of the border. SSB troops are deployed on Indo-Nepal and Indo-Bhutan borders. So on Indo-Nepal borders, we are having our deployment in the form of battalions. But actually, right on the border, we have border outposts, which the people living at the border outpost, they live there only and dominate the area by doing operational activities. So on Indo-Nepal border, first of all, I would like to tell you the nature of the Indo-Nepal border. Actually, it is a different kind of terrains you will find. The western border of Nepal, it is almost high mountain, snow-bound areas, and it is delineated with the help of a river that is called Kali. That comes the plain areas. In plain areas, you will find big sanctuaries like Dudhwa National Park, Valmiki Tiger Reserve, Katarnia Ghat. There are so many forests. These are the forest region. This entire stretch of Indo-Nepal border is crisscrossed by rivers, nalas that is coming down from Himalayas foothills. So this entire border, it is almost plain, but most of the time it is flood prone also. I mean, in monsoon season, it is very difficult to cross over the border because of the flood. So the people across the border, they cross over the rivers with the help of bridges, or where there are no bridges, they cross over.
अभी तो तेल डाल दो, तो proof आएगा तब होगा ना.
Hello. And people cross over the border because it's plain area. and they can cross over from anywhere. The eastern border of Nepal is delineated by river Machi. That is also a riverine border. The people cross over the border through this river. Then otherwise the southern part of the border is plain. On this border, we have 26 authorized routes. Authorized routes, when I say, it means that the government of India and government of Nepal, they have signed a treaty, and through this treaty, they have identified 26 authorized routes from where Indians and Nepalese can do their trade. Out of these 26 authorized routes, we have 15 routes we call transit routes. Transit route means Nepal is a landlocked country, and their trade with the third country nations other than India, their trade, their vehicles can move from those 15 points only. I mean, they cannot move anywhere or from any place, but these 15 points have been earmarked for their movement. So, but in addition to these 26 routes, we have hundreds, I would say, not hundreds, I would say we have identified almost 269 routes. But these are the trade routes, and people can cross over from these routes. It is an open border. It is like you are going from Delhi to Gurgaon. Means there is no there is no restriction on the movement of people. Some routes, like if you say Raxaul in Bihar, Sanauli in UP, district Maharashganj, you will find lakhs of people cross over daily. Almost, sometimes the data we have found, it is around 2 lakh people crossing over from this side and that side. So the large number of people are crossing over the borders. So this is the situation on Indo-Nepal border. Almost the same kind of situation is on Indo-Bhutan border. It is also mountainous region, and the people, means movement is free over there. People can cross over from any point, but since it is a small country and most of the part is mountainous part, so it is difficult to cross over, but still it is open and people take advantage moving site freely. This kind of, we come across different kind of situation. I mean, when we talk about international border, it comes that it is Pakistan kind of border. It comes to our mind, Pakistan kind of border, Chinese border, but it is unlike those borders. People can cross over. We can check them, we can frisk them, but we can stop them. We cannot stop them moving across. Sometimes people take advantage of this situation, this open border, and they are indulged in smuggling or sometimes in anti-national activity. So our concern on the border is that we want that each and every person who is crossing over the border, it should be known to us, whether it is through cameras, it is through drones or any other technology. So if you need any other kind of information regarding nature of the border, we are open to it. Thank you very much.
Can we ask the questions to clarify, please?
Please.
Yeah, I'm Milind, sir. So, sir, I just wanted to, I'm sure it is going to be for everybody's clarification. Like these drones, they look like you want for a passive kind of action. See, what drone does is it's going to do the surveillance. And once it gets hold of somebody who's, is an infiltrator or, illegally entering, what action do we expect drone to do? Just not click the pictures. You want some action to be done from SSB, your rules of engagement, because we have worked with the army in the Northern Command, so they required some, action also. So could you kindly clarify on that, please?
Basically, drone technology that is, as stated in the problem statement number 2, we are not looking for any use of drones to, to pinpoint suspects or anything. Drone technology in our borders is more to do with the mapping of vulnerable areas. Vulnerable in the sense, there are a lot of patches along the Indo-Nepal border where there is encroachment, and there's a lot of encroachment and a lot of religious structures which have come up along these borders. So basically, we are looking to map all those kind of data through drones, not exactly, pinpointing suspects, and because that's very difficult using drones. Maybe, the feedback time wouldn't be that much where you can actually act upon such inputs.
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yeah. So thanks a lot. That's really clarifies. So you are looking for surveillance using the drones and
Yes.
videography to be live communicated to your end.
Yes, basically like encroachment over a period of time, if you start collecting data, maybe the archival data also you compare and see whether any new structures have come up.
Okay.
There are some issues of concern which we would share with you. In the sense that I was talking about these religious structures coming up, encroachment. Encroachment is a huge problem. And vulnerable areas, we have also identified, as Sanjay had said, around 200 or 267 vulnerable points, which don't actually fall in the main routes. So to keep a watch on those routes, to see if any activity is going on those routes.
Yeah, got
Things
that.
like that.
Yeah, got that. Thanks a lot.
Sanjeev.
Dr. Manish Gupta, now you can ask your question.
They are funds as Pinnacle and Swadeshi processor, and Ajit sir was at IISc Pinnacle that time. So I worked in the Electronic Warfare Battalion Signal Corps Pune, 13th Electronic Warfare, and also workshop from 3rd Brigade. 5 months I worked with Subedar Joshi sir, Karim sir, and we did a lot of things on Bhumi, Drushti, and also ITEC speech compression, radio business, and there's a lot of signal processing, AI, 2D, 3D signals. So can you see my file and consider me for some hackathon? Because
Please,
we did a lot
Dr.
of this with Joshi sir, Subedar Joshi sir.
Dr. Gupta, if you have a specific question, you can ask. Otherwise, this is not the forum, please.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. I would request the participants to have a crisp and clear question and not necessarily talk about credentials here as much, because that doesn't serve the startup community if we don't reflect well and use the time that is given to us by SSB in the most efficient way possible. So please raise your hand and ask a specific question. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, Doctor.
Hello, this is Dr. Ranjan from International.
Yes, Dr. Ranjan, you can ask your question.
Yeah, so I just having a doubt, like you spoke about identification of people. So are you also looking at identification and keeping record of the vehicles that are crossing the borders?
Absolutely, Dr. Ranjan. This I think is covered in the problem statement number 1. The earlier person whom I was addressing to was actually, we were talking about problem statement number 2. This is problem number 1 is very clear. It says the detection of unauthorized and suspected vehicles and persons moving across the border through the various checkposts and the ICPs which was earlier told to you, so that the data collected there, we can, match it with our, database and, probably segregate the data and, match it with our database, and then, blacklist. You could have lists like that, a blacklist or whitelist, and then if there are any suspected person, in real time we could detain them, or a vehicle, we could detain them in real time and take it forward. Thank you.
And also, as you mentioned, during the flood times and all, if trespassers are coming through water-based vehicles, so anything on that side also, are you looking?
Yes, yes. I mean, if you can come up with a solution, we'll always consider that also, because as such, people crossing over from Nepal to India, say, for example, through water bodies is not that much as compared to the volume of traffic on the authorized routes or the main routes. So,
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
So I'm Haribabu here.
Next is Mr. Ajay Mehta. You can ask your question. Mr. Ajay Mehta, you can
Yes,
unmute.
thank
and
you. Thank you, Vanshu. Thank you so much. My question is for the team SSB. My area of work is in the field of anti-counterfeiting print products. So from the perspective of possibilities of issuing anti-counterfeit and tamper-proof identity cards, would that be a solution that you could be looking at, sir?
Could you just elaborate on that, please?
Yes. So what's happening is identity cards can be easily counterfeited, the ones that are being currently issued in India and other neighboring countries. But my work is in the area of creating products which cannot be counterfeited, which can be verified very easily and cannot be tampered with. So these kind of, I mean, of course, they're physical products. So in a sense, they're analog solutions. But there is a digital interface that we can offer via a QR code or an NFC chip. So do you think that's a viable solution to the problems that you're having?
Just let me clarify the position as of today on these borders.
Sir.
As of today, there is actually no regulatory mechanism as such, wherein people, have to produce some identity card, or it is done randomly.
Right.
So, and when we do it randomly, we come across a lot of cases where, as you said, the forged documents or the fake documents are prepared. Basically, these pertain to citizenship documents, maybe an Aadhaar card, or maybe Aadhaar is of course not a citizen document, but for example, a fake Aadhaar card or something like that.
Yes.
And these are mostly used by what we term them as third country nationals. Nationals who don't belong, don't have the citizenship of either India or Nepal. Maybe an American or maybe Chinese. A lot of Chinese being caught now on these borders. And they have all these fake documents. So this is being done randomly now. So probably your solution will address a part of the problem.
Right. Or probably in conjunction with another solution.
With another, yes, absolutely.
Sir, coming to the UAV problem, the one more doubt I had, like there are two types of UAVs and the drones, the rotary and the fixed wing. What are the ranges from headquarters are we looking at? And second question is, how frozen should be our proposal that, we detail everything, or would there be a, iterative process also for this?
Sir, it is a kind of technical question, sir. We may not like to comment on whether it is a rotatory. It should be a rotatory or fixed wing. So it is better that
Avanshu, I would request you.
Yes, thank you so much. So the idea. Yeah, please.
Good afternoon, sir. So basically, we want rotatory type of the UAV mostly, and which can flow up to 1 hour minimum, 60 minutes. It should have 60 minutes of flying time minimum, and it should cover minimum approximate area from 5 to 10 kilometers.
Kilometers.
So this is the basic requirement.
Sir, it's 5 to 10 kilometers, you said?
From the border, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, okay. And
I have a question. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is Kaushik from Ayota. May I ask a question?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so what is there are two things. One is, do you have a database, or are you building a database where you can actually identify? I mean, if I have to identify a target, or be it a suspected vehicle or a suspected person, do you have a database of the same? Number one. Number two, what is the approximate flight time that you are expecting for these vehicles in one sortie?
Actually, I mean, we have tons of data, but the problem is it is not in any kind of structured form. So we are working on that, and probably by the time this hackathon happens, I think it should happen. Yes, we would have a database to, segregate for the segregation purposes. Otherwise, there's no point in carrying out this exercise, right?
Yeah, and what is the typical flight time for the single sortie that you are looking for? I mean, for how much time the drone should be airborne?
Minimum 60 minutes, 1 hour.
Okay.
Minimum
Okay.
1 hour,
Thank you.
and it should be VTOL, vertical takeoff and vertical landing.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Jeet wanted to comment something about the drones.
Yes, sir. My name is Mayank, and I am from Idea Research and Development Private Limited. So I have one question. If we have something ready, like you in Drishti, we got 2 problem statements, and if we have ready, like we have prototypes, so how can we approach SSB to showcase that what we have done so far?
Please come again. The voice was a little.
Okay. सर मेरा ये पूछना है कि आप दृष्टि में 2 प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट हमें मिले हैं, हमने दोनों प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट पे कहीं ना कहीं पहले से ही काम कर रखा है, सो हम डायरेक्टली एसएसबी को प्रोटोटाइप दिखाने के लिए कैसे अप्रोच कर सकते हैं?
No, you will have to stick to the timelines and come through METI. Please submit your solutions to on the platforms given, so that then there will be a jury. It is all laid out in this minutes. We have given.
Okay.
That is the way to go about it.
Okay. और सर हमारे हमारा जो इंस्टीट्यूशन का मोटो यही है कि जो जितनी भी बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस हैं उनकी किसी ना किसी तरीके से हेल्प की जाए। तो अगर ऐसे इन दोनों प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट के अलावा हमारे पास कुछ ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स होते हैं जो एसएसपी की हेल्प कर सकते हैं, तो उनमें हम सर एसएसपी को कैसे अप्रोच कर सकते हैं इन दोनों?
You again please respect the time here. We have 25 minutes left. There's a process. You realize. You write to us, you send us, we have given you the email, you have the phone numbers, you share your problem statements with us. And just like we brought you BSF, now you're bringing you SSB, we'll keep bringing these challenges. Please do not look for a direct shortcuts, because that does not reflect professionalism of an application. So please mail us, reach out to us, and coordinate with us, and we'll try to help you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
This is Sandeep from Optimize. May I ask a question, please?
Please.
Thank you. Sir, my question is for the challenge number 1, which is the detection of unauthorized or suspected vehicles as well as persons. My question is that, first of all, my assumption is that when you're saying detection, it is to make things easier to understand for the participants, but the EO systems have detection, recognition, and identification. I assume that you're actually talking about identification here. A confirmation here would help. That is my question number 1. The question number 2 is that in identification, what is the range or the distance at which you intend to identify? Is it through some very close range CCTV kind of cameras where the vehicle will be passing through the weighbridge anyway? Or is it through a distance, from a distance where the vehicle is expected not to be there and it is indeed found to be there? And the third question is that when you say a suspected vehicle, can you please give us a persona of a suspected vehicle or person? Because as you rightly mentioned in the beginning, it's a porous border and there is actually no checking done anyway for these people. So how would we or the system know that this is a suspected behavior of the vehicle or the person? So these 3 questions, sir.
Yes.
सर हमारी जो रिक्वायरमेंट है, जो प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट फर्स्ट के रेफरेंस में मैं बात करूंगा, बहुत स्पेसिफिक है, क्योंकि बहुत ज्यादा बड़ी संख्या में लोग क्रॉस ओवर कर रहे हैं बॉर्डर पर, और इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर मी टू हैव डाटा ऑफ ऑल द पीपल, 2 लाख 4 लाख लोग जो, या पूरे एंटायर बॉर्डर पर इफ वी टॉक अबाउट, it would be around 15-16 lakh people crossing over day. So I may not be having that much data. We want very specific issue that जब भी कोई आदमी किसी पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट से क्रॉस कर रहा है, तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हिज इमेज शुड बी इन आवर डेटाबेस, एंड that solution should be able to recognize his image when he is crossing over second time.
Okay.
Because second time or third time or fourth time, I mean, whenever he is coming, that particular solution will help us that this man is coming second time or third time, or so many times he has over the border. Number one. I will then, after that, if I find that this is a suspicious person, वो एक अगर नोटिफिकेशन दे दे तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है, दिस इज अ सस्पिशियस पर्सन, तो मैं उसको उसका डेटाबेस को फर्दर डेवलप करने की कोशिश करूंगा. हु इज द मैन, व्हाट इज हिज नेम, व्हाट इज हिज ओरिजिन, फ्रॉम वेयर इज ही कमिंग, व्हाई इज ही कमिंग. ये सब उसके बाद का प्रोसेस होगा. इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर अस टू नोट डाउन नेम ऑफ एवरी पर्सन and then click his photo and then put it in our database, and with the help of that database the solution or the equipment which you provide us, वो हमको फिर बताए. उससे अच्छा है हम चाहते हैं इक्विपमेंट कि वो हमको बताए कि ये आदमी थर्ड टाइम आ रहा है, फोर्थ टाइम आ रहा है. ठीक है, ऐसे ही व्हीकल्स में सर ऑटोमेटिक नंबर प्लेट रीडर्स आर अवेलेबल इन द मार्केट, एंड बट दे नीड डेटाबेस. I mean, if I put 100 100 numbers of vehicles in the database, then they will recognize कि आदमी आ रहा है. But if it is not there, it is not possible. मुझे भी पता नहीं लगेगा कि वो सेकंड टाइम आ रहा है कि फोर्थ टाइम जा रहा है. वो आ रहा है और जा रहा है, कैमरा उसको देख रहा है, बट कोई हमको कोई कुछ मिल नहीं रहा है. तो इस तरह का सॉल्यूशन हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट है. I think am I clear?
Sir, it clarifies a bit on one aspect, identification aspect, but I'm not quite sure as to what to offer. For example, you already said, right, that automatic license plate recognition systems are available. You already have cameras at the border. So what is missing is something which I'm still not. Is it that that you want us to capture all the images, collate them into appropriately into a database? Is that what you want us to do?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I just want to add one more thing. It is not necessary, of course, it's a huge border. It's a huge border right from Uttarakhand up to, West Bengal, 1751 kilometers. So it is not necessary a vehicle will enter through one border. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. I just wanted to tell this, it is not, necessary that it would enter through one particular border always. Probably it will enter through UP once or West Bengal once. So if you're able to capture the data here, and probably next time when he tries to come to West Bengal, so then we can match and then flag it and then carry it forward. That kind of thing.
Got it.
And as far as your second query was concerned, the distance, you were talking about at what distance?
Yeah. Which
I think it could be a smart, handheld device. You have maybe even a CTV based device.
Thank you, sir. This is helpful, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, Miss Anuradha, now you can ask your question.
Yeah, my question is related to the challenge number 1, and just 2-3 questions, though some of the answers I've already got from the previous questions. But are you looking for an integrated solution for vehicle and person identification, or in some places it may be vehicle and in some places it may be only person? Number 1. And number 2 is what I understood from the previous discussion was that you're looking for a single database where the person of interest can be flagged across the border and maybe you can get alerts on the number of times he has crossed the border, right? And third is, do you have any database like the the police have the Vahan database and all that? Do you have any requirement of integration with an existing government database? Thank you.
Yes, we do have, as I mentioned earlier, we do have data. It is, as such of now, it is not in a very structured format. So we are putting it together. So probably, yes, we will have a good database by the time the solutions come up. And so that is the second. What was the second thing? you were talking about? The first issue you raised. Integrated. Yes, if it is integrated, it is basically, it should be cost effective. So if it is integrated, all the more better.
And
If these are two standalone solutions, then probably we'll have to. You have something to add?
We want an integrated single system which can identify both vehicles and persons, so that there is not a lot of hardware in the border. And also we would like to have a facility so that we can attach our database with the database available with the police like CCTVs. So also we should have that facility also. Thank you.
Just one more question. Are you also looking at to capture all the faces and all, or on the defined checkposts only, or also at the borders where it is where SSB checkposts are not available?
Absolutely. I mean, we have identified the vulnerable points. We do regular studies on this, so we do have that data. But it is not necessarily for main thoroughfares. I mean, main points of entry and exit. I mean, it could be deployed in places where where we feel it is appropriate. And as we develop this thing, so we will share that data with you. And probably we could take you physically and you will visit these places so you can have a fair idea of what actually is required. That would come later, of course.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Ashrita, now you can ask your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ashrita. I'm from a startup called Pixelwide. We're applying for the first problem statement. My questions are, so you spoke about having, multiple routes, 269 routes throughout where we are monitoring or trying to monitor the movement. So apart from the mainstream, 15 or 26 routes that are easily available and we can easily place cameras, how extensive do you want the cameras to be placed along the remaining routes? Is this something that you're looking for all the routes, which is, completely 269? This will give me an idea of how many devices we're looking at. This is question number 1, sir.
Ma'am, we have told you earlier also that we have 26 authorized routes on Indo-Nepal border and 5 on Indo-Bhutan border. But actually, these are the routes which have been identified. I mean, the government have authorized them for the movement between for the people of India and Nepal or India and Bhutan. But in addition to that, there are hundreds. I mean, I would say it is the entire stretch is open. People can cross over from anywhere. But we have identified 269 routes, जिनको कि हम 24 hours monitor करना चाहते हैं. This is not that only 269 routes will be there. Maybe in future, if we find that people have started crossing over from that particular point, so that route can also be added. So it is always open, ma'am. But we would like to place the device at all the routes because we have to cover the entire stretch of the border. Thank you.
Okay, sir, got it. So second question is, will there be internet present at any of the border points, or is this something that we will only have to, we will provide the internet as well in the device itself?
Ma'am, you'll have to cater for that. There are certain issues which are very unique to the border. It's not like in the cities where there is very good internet connectivity. It is very erratic at most places, if I may say so. And in some places, there is absolutely no internet connectivity at all. And the power backup, power supply would also be an issue. So I think you should factor in all this.
Sure, sir. And last question, sir, how much time do we get to make the prototype? Because there is a slight delay for attaining the actual, the raw products or the things that we put into making these devices. So, I mean, even to get the raw material, it's taking us 2-3 months. So how much, will you please factor this in as well when you give the
Yes,
according
this is
timelines?
an issue which has to be addressed by the METI Startup Hub. Jeet sir, I would request you to just give them time, because most of them will face this problem in sourcing their components. So could you kindly please elaborate on that? I mean, probably you could give them a little more time to go ahead.
No, thank you so much. And of course, we understand the complexity of the product that we are trying to build and furnish. So the only thing is that you reach out to us, let us know whatever the requirements you need from technology access points, and with your recommendation of how we can enable it. So we'll try to do the best we can. Ultimately, the goal is that we need a product that's integratable, it's interoperable, and it's scalable, and things which are ready for deployment in the near term. So not a idea level or a prototype, but something that needs just finishing touches and some calibration based on the specificity of the challenge. But whatever your request and your needs are, please do communicate to us and we'll work with you.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay, next is Mukul Chauhan.
Sir, my doubt is clear, sir. Previous questions se clear ho gaya, sir.
Okay, Anand, Mr. Anand.
Thank you. I have two questions. One was the follow-up of the question on network. Network is a very serious issue because it can be tampered into, and evidence and camera feed can be actually tampered. So I would request there should be a dedicated network, internet or an intranet or a LoRa network for this. So, but the question was answered earlier. We'll have to think about how we come up with that. My second point was on IPR rights. We already have a solution where the base software that we use for analytics, object detection, identification, cross-border movement and all is there. And we hold IP rights for it. In your docket, you had mentioned that the IP would belong to the army. So we just wanted to know how this would work out when we propose a solution.
I think Jeet would be the right person to address this issue.
No, I think, thank you so much. So we understand the complexity because you are a startup trying to build a business around your core technology. So first step is that once you submit the proposal, we have a review of it. So the goal is that the base IP belongs to you, and you will be developing a product that is actually for the need for the government of India, especially SSB here. And so there will be some clauses that will be carved out in terms of the exclusivity, in terms of the usage, in terms of who you can sell certain things to. But the goal is not to take a private sector company and make it a captive government of India vendor. The goal is to enable you access to these things while we can actually protect the IP and protect the seriousness of the operation for which these IP is being deployed. But we'll definitely, that is a consideration we have taken for BSF as well, and the other national sovereignty related challenge that we are running.
Thank you.
Anand, I hope that clears your query.
Yeah, I hear Mr. Jeet, but I have not understood how it secures our IP yet. But yeah, we can take it offline, no problem. Thank you.
I mean, that's how business works, right? This is a query resolution and not final negotiation of a product deployment.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Madhav, you can ask your question.
Hi. Yeah. Well, to start off with, I had a similar question to Mr. Anand, but I guess we'll take that discussion offline. But the other question I had was with respect to the second problem statement about mapping the border areas. I wanted to know what is the expected frequency with which you want to map the border using drones or UAVs, and what would be the expected resolution of the provided mapping? In terms of maybe ground sampling distance or any appropriate measure?
Frequency is around 6 to 10 times we can fly that so that we can cover 24 hours. No? It can also increase. It can also increase depending on our operational requirement. And regarding the resolution, it should be the current and the best imagery which we should get the available technology as per the available technology. Because the photo imagery is the most important thing. If the imagery is good, then we can identify all the people.
Okay, so a follow-up question to that based on your answer. So you said that you require photo imagery as the output. Would you require orthomosaics, which are essentially photo imagery processed so that the resulted output looks like it's top-down versus it being only top-down in the center of the image, if you're familiar with that?
It is not only about the imagery, it is also about the video and also the pictures of various structures, humans and all that. So whatever we are, basically we want it to for reconnaissance and the surveillance of the borders, so as so that we can reduce the manpower.
Okay, but there's a part of the question where you've mentioned that you require geospatial mapping, right? For problem statement number 2. Is that also a real-time thing?
This is also one of the parts.
Sorry, can you repeat? That wasn't clear.
So geospatial mapping is also one of this part, but it is not complete. Basically, we require the drones for reconnaissance and all that thing.
Understood.
Madhav, I would also like to add that you will have to factor in other things like, weather conditions. Some of these places are, extreme weather conditions. Like, basically, this solution we would also like to, deploy on the tri-junction areas where, tri-junction, basically there are 4 tri-junctions in our area of responsibility. Where, like you say, China, Bhutan, India, China, Nepal, India, things like that. Extreme weather conditions and altitude ranging from 14 to 18,000 feet. And your solution should cater for all this.
Understood.
I just wanted to add this because and remote. So in terms of internet connectivity or in terms of power supply, it is an issue. Of course, we've got generators and all that, but accessibility is also difficult. So you may like to take this into consideration.
Okay, sure. I think that's all I have for now. If there are more questions, I'll send it to your email as mentioned. Thank you.
Combat robotics.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Hello,
you can
sir.
ask your question.
So I'm Ganesh Suryavanshi from Combat Robotics, and we would like to know whether you would be interested in unmanned ground vehicles.
Basically, Force is interested in this equipment, modern equipment, which will help in the operational planning. But in the present case, there are 2 problems, and that is a separate thing.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Parikshit.
Hello, sir. Sir, I am from IIT Kanpur working as a research engineer. So I am not having any startup yet. So is it possible to apply as an academic solution? And another thing, in that website, while applying, it is written that after when my proposal, if it is approved, then I can find a company later stage. But is it possible to without having registered as a company?
So I will take that question. Because I'll let SSB focus on the user part because they need a product. We'll help you with the company. So as long as you have a product that actually can be deployed, then forming a company, thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister, doesn't take more than So if you have a product that is almost ready, we can help with the structuring of the company, and that's not an issue. But you need to have a product, not an idea.
Okay. In that proposal submission thing, there is written company name, everything need to be submitted. But if my proposal is accepted, then do I need to have the same company name and same thing while registering the company?
You can fill it out on. You are currently being an academic part of the academic institute. You are working on behalf of the institute currently, so you can submit it accordingly under their name, right? Because you're a researcher. So it's your institute that's applying, more or less. But later you can figure out, how much your institute owns and how much you own of that company. But at this point, you can apply on behalf of the institute itself.
So whatever solution I'm going to submit is my individual work only, means whatever things I'm doing on it and whatever hardware right now using.
That is fine. You can submit it. We will make an exception as long as it's something that can work and serve the purpose.
Okay, my next query is that how much portion of the proposal need to be submitted? Because in the submission form, there is all the things that are required. But how much I need to submit as a phase 1 submission?
There is no phase 1 submission as such. We are looking for a product that is, almost ready. So you need to submit full information, technical and validation wise, that allow us, the jury, the committee, to evaluate your application on par with the rest of the applicants. So it has to be full information as requested on the documents.
Means full ready to go solution.
Yes, more or less.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
So can we take the next one? Mr. Sunil Joshi is there. Sunil
Yeah,
Joshi.
hi. Yes, my two very basic questions that I saw a lot of observatory point here across the border. So do you have power in place, proper uninterrupted power in place, and communication infra to interconnect between the different routes where the surveillance equipment has to be installed? So this is the basic two questions. And if yes, then how will you provide to the people who are going to integrate the system there?
Basically, sir, in the authorized route, we may have some facility of this internet or electricity, but in most of the border, the internet is very erratic or it is not there, as already told by the honorable DIG. And also towers etc. are not available in the borders. In most of the borders.
So to solve this, then we have to provide these infrastructure also along with the solution, right?
Right, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Next is Dr. Ranjan Kumar Behra. Dr. Ranjan, do you have any questions?
Yes,
next.
I do have a question related to challenge number 2. You mentioned about you need a flight time of the drones about 60 minutes, and you are looking around something 10-kilometer radius, I guess, right? So in that case, my question is that do you need the drone to be continuously hovering for 60 minutes time, or any other solution is feasible at your end? Because we have one solution available at our end, which we can do 24 hours continuous monitoring.
So basically, it should hover for 60 minutes minimum, because we have a lot of areas which are forest areas or where it is very difficult to go. So minimum 60 minutes it should hover in the area.
So hovering for a 10-kilometer distance, you are saying, right?
Minimum, yes, sir, yes.
These are indicative. These are just indicative.
Tentatively, 10 kilometers hovering should be there.
Yes.
Because what I'm proposing is we do have a solution where the UAV will not be hovering, but it will cover the same distance that you are looking at, the 10-kilometer radius. So that is what my query is like. You specifically require that UAV should be hovering, or without hovering also, if we can do, is it possible?
You're welcome to submit your solutions, and we'll look at it from the point of view from our operational usefulness. And if we find it useful, then definitely we will, carry it forward. Be respectful.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I think we have one more hand raised. So Will, if with the permission of SSB team, can we take one last one, then we'll call it?
Please, sir, please.
Please.
Yeah, sir, my question, I have very basic question. You have two type of routes. One is the authorized route and second is the vulnerable routes. So on the authorized routes, your vehicles are flying from India and Nepal and people are going through vehicle. But the this second type of 265 routes, you have told that these are the vulnerable routes. So the vehicles, my question is, do the vehicles fly on these routes or people are coming on foot? One. Second is that you are, as I understand, that you are looking a solution wherein the CCTV camera should be there, which can take the picture of the person. Then you need the vehicle identification system, vehicle monitoring. And if suppose you have find out second time, third time he is coming, so through vehicle and through the image of the person you want to identify. So in case there is other options are also available in case if suppose he is carrying some RF devices, he is carrying the mobile phones, and through that also you can identify that same person has come. So there are different options through that you can integrate all these things and then identify. So there are two questions. So on the authorized routes, you can do all these things, but on the vulnerable routes wherein the vehicles are not coming, so what is your thought process? Do you want to put up the camera only, or you want to put up a total integrated solution there also?
Piyush Saab, I just wanted to tell you that vehicle movement along the Indo-Nepal or Indo-Bhutan borders are not only through the authorized routes. Vehicles, especially light vehicles, two-wheelers and all that, they use all these tracks and traditional routes, and generally it happens that way. I mean, anybody carrying out an anti-national activity or a criminal activity would prefer to use those routes and not the main routes, because the chances of getting caught on the main routes are more. So vehicles come, and the second thing is the solutions need not be, CCTV centric. We did not say that. I mean, you could have anything else, any other out-of-the-box solution which you could offer. We would be glad to look into it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Team SSB, for making time and being with us today. And thanks to all the potential applicants for being part of this and asking some interesting and useful questions. For this, now I'll turn over to you for your closing remarks, sir.
Jeet, thank you so much. I mean, we should be thanking you for organizing this session. I mean, it clarified a lot of things which people had on their mind. And this is not the end. Of course, people have more doubts or queries. They can always revert back either to, basically they'll revert back to you. And if they want anything from our side, we are always there to, help them out. Thank you so much once again. Looking forward to carrying this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And to the startups who may have any other follow-up questions, please email it to us. We will revert back after following up with the SSB team. And also, please do stay connected with MS Search through the various platforms that we have, and we'll keep bringing different challenges and schemes and programs which can benefit you. So good luck for the rest of the year and for this project, and hope to connect with you guys again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.